Wow. I don't even know how to start a video like this. This totally took me by surprise. I mean, I know this was like 2 months ago, but I was just not anticipating it in the slice. I wasn't even ready for it because, the longer you do something like this, the less significant those anniversaries become. When you're in your like year 2 or 3, you're like, oh my gosh, a whole year. It feels so long, in terms of the overall scale of the channel. It does feel that way. But once you start to hit like year 8 or 9, it doesn't matter as much anymore. But I will give year 10 its due. It is a milestone. So I probably should acknowledge it. So I'm making this video. And again, this is a couple of months late. Like I said, completely missed it. I was just browsing around on my channel and went into my about section that I haven't updated in, honestly, years. And went, oh, shoot, April 26, 2011 was the day. 2011. It's 2021. It's not 2020 anymore. I know it feels like 2020 lasted forever, but it still hadn't hit me yet. And now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it's been 10 years, and I'm just going to keep saying that the entire video. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to reflect on 10 years of this stuff. Well, more specifically, I would actually like to reflect on how this all started, because I don't know if I've ever really talked about that all that much. I've definitely alluded to it, but I haven't gone into a lot of detail. Honestly, the inception of this channel goes back way more than 10 years. When I was a kid, I was about like 8 or 9 years old. I don't know how I even had them. They were probably just like extra VHS tapes that my parents weren't using for like family home videos and whatnot. But I had these VHS tapes. I think I had 3 of them. And I just used them for stuff like recording sports games that I missed or whatnot. Like I had to go to bed early and I wanted to catch the end of a baseball game or a football game or something like that, and I missed them. So I would set the tapes to run. And I eventually got the idea to try to hook up my Nintendo 64 to my VCR and record video games that way with those tapes. And these tapes, I mean, these were the kind, if anybody remembers these sorts of tapes, they were very limited. So you could record like 4 hours of footage on them on like a standard definition. It was like 480p level of quality, or you could get 6 hours on an even lower definition. Like these were archaic tapes, even for the time, if I'm being honest. So I would try to cram as much video game footage as I could into each of these tapes, and it would be like a playthrough of like Wave Race here or Yoshi's Story here, all these N64 games I grew up with. And I remember the 2 big ones were Paper Mario and Banjo-Tooie, which to this day are 2 of my favorite 64 games ever. So I would record those ones a lot, and I had siblings that were more into the handheld games themselves. They liked to play the Game Boy Advance, the DS. They weren't as much into the Nintendo 64, so they would watch me. I mean, and obviously back then it was just the Game Boy, but they would watch me play Nintendo 64 games, and with these tapes, they were able to watch me while I wasn't even around, and they would honestly sit there, put the tapes in, and just watch me play. And then when I was around, I'd sit down with them and be like, okay, so this is the part where I'm going to fight the lava piranha, and you got to put on the ice badge because it's really good for any fire enemy. It does extra damage, stuff like that. I was like 9 years old, so I thought it was cool. They thought it was cool. But it's hilarious to think about that idea, that initial idea that I had, kind of blossomed into this eventually. I mean, that 17, 18 years ago, and it's kind of come full circle. Now, as for this channel in particular, back when I was a junior in high school, a few months before I actually started this channel, I was playing through Super Mario Sunshine, and I think it was my second ever playthrough. I had decided this was the time I was going to 100% the game. I was going to get every single shine, all of 120. And I was doing one of the 100 coin shines. And for anybody who knows how Super Mario Sunshine works, the 100 coin shines can be particularly annoying because only certain missions in the levels will even allow you to get 100 coins. You can absolutely screw yourself by jumping into the wrong mission. You'll grab like 70 coins and realize there's no more in the rest of this mission, and you have to start all over. It's probably the worst thing about Super Mario Sunshine. And as somebody who loves the game, even I hate that aspect of it. So, yeah. Anyways, I think it was like Noki Bay or something like that. But I was really struggling to get the 100 coins on this mission, so I decided to go look up a guide. Now, you have to understand that I was not internet savvy as a teenager. I know the internet was still kind of relatively new, but it wasn't really. I had a lot of friends that were big fans of stuff on YouTube and would watch a lot of funny videos. But that's kind of what it was. There was no such thing as a YouTuber back then. It was just, check out this funny YouTube video, or check out this one, and this weird random thing. I mean, the most popular videos I remember from the time were stuff like Happy Tree Friends, you know? Like, stuff that is lost to history. I mean, they might still make them, I don't know. But that's kind of the era we're talking about. There were no popular vloggers or let's players or Twitch streamers or anything like that back then. Twitch didn't even exist yet, I think, and it certainly wasn't mainstream. But I had no concept of YouTube. I never watched it. I never cared about it. I was a TV person. I just watched all of the stuff I enjoyed on TV, my cartoons and my NCIS. That was the show I was a big fan of at that time. But I digress. Anyway, clicked on, or typed it in the search bar in Google, the 100 coin mission for Super Mario Sunshine for whatever level I was doing. And I usually just went to GameFAQs for these sorts of things, looked up written walkthroughs and guides. But I remember the top result that popped up at the time was a YouTube video that showed me how to do it. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll click on this. And so I did. And I was shocked to hear that a person was talking over the gameplay right from the get-go. And I was like, what the heck is this? This isn't helpful. And after I gave it a couple of minutes, I actually started to get really entertained. And I was like, actually, this is kind of a good idea. And instead of going back to finishing the game I was playing, I ended up just watching the rest of the Let's Play. And slowly but surely started to watch that person's other Let's Plays and found other Let's Players like them. And this kind of grew over the course of a couple of months. And I was like, I kind of want to do this. That Let's Player, by the way, was Chugga Conroy, if you've never heard of the guy. If you've heard of me, but not him, I don't know what to tell you. Like, he is kind of the quintessential Nintendo-focused Let's Player. And at the time, he only had something like 7 or 8 Let's Plays completed. So it was very easy for me to quickly go through his entire anthology and watch them all. But after that, it was Nintendo Capri Sun, and then it was Proton John and Josh Jepsen and Lucajin. And there was a couple of others that I don't want to name all of them because there's some of them don't even Let's Play anymore. But slowly but surely found all these Let's Players and was like, man, I want to do this. I want to do this also. So I remember I grabbed my mom's laptop. I was 17. I grabbed my mom's laptop. I installed an emulator. I got Pokemon Emerald onto it because that was the game I always played. The game I played the most at the time. And tried to record Visual Boy Advance without understanding compression settings in video quality whatsoever, and trying to record my audio by talking into the microphone that was on the top of the monitor. And it was horrible. It was horrible. I didn't even know how to combine the frames properly, so the audio of the game was super desynced from the video, and my audio quality from my microphone was so bad that you couldn't hear half of what I was saying. It sounded like I was talking, I was like 10 feet away from the microphone, even though I wasn't. And I remember the first interaction I got on that video was a view and a dislike, and it was not unwarranted. I made like 6 more episodes of that. Mind you, this was not on this channel. I should emphasize that. I never did that on this Squirtle King channel. It wasn't a thing yet. It was on a throwaway YouTube account that I had made. And after that debacle, and after I realized, okay, this is not working, I decided to actually do my research and look, okay, how do people actually do this? How do they make these Let's Plays, especially with newer games and whatnot? How are they doing this with PS3 and Xbox 360 games and stuff? So I did my research, and I found that if you wanted to do it on a budget, the cheapest you could go for a microphone was about $20, and the cheapest you could go for a capture card was about $40. And that is how I ended up with a Logitech headset and a Dazzle capture card. If you remember the Dazzle capture card, it was like this weird white pizza-shaped thing. It had the S-Video and composite cables that could plug into it, and that was it. And it would hook directly into your computer. And that was apparently the thing you could get if you weren't willing to fork over the $150 plus for a decent HDMI capture card, of which there were only like a couple on the market anyway at the time. So that's how I got started. And the first 2 Let's Plays that I recorded, and after making my actual channel, which I named after, I just decided to come up with a name based on my favorite Pokemon at the time, which was Squirtle, and made the Squirtle King, or at the time LP Squirtle King, and recorded Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Road Rescue Team, Blind, and Super Mario Sunshine. I decided I was like, okay, I'm going to do a game I actually know about, and since Blind Let's Plays seem to be so popular, I'm going to do one that I don't know about, and I've always wanted to play. And that's how this channel began. That's how it all began. I recorded those Let's Plays. They did not do very well. I started to network by getting on Twitter and the like, and slowly but surely actually began to meet people. I got to make some friends. I got to meet some of the people that had actually gotten me started into Let's Playing. I eventually went to things like conventions. I started to network around, use social media more, and slowly but surely from there, I built a brand that wasn't really a brand. It just kind of put myself out there and is the reason that I don't still have like 100 subscribers to this day. It was a really weird time, and I definitely didn't know what I was doing. I kind of just jumped in all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, hoping that somehow some people would watch my stuff. And while my launch point was actually not too bad, because I did definitely network with a couple of the right people and get them to like shout me out and stuff like that, but for the most part, I kind of just went on my own after only doing this for a few years. I did some collabs. I did some stuff with people, some guest commentating and stuff like that. But over time, I just kind of found that that wasn't really for me. There's just an environment that's on the internet, and I mean, you're on YouTube, you see it. If you just have to be on this website to see it, you don't have to go onto social media, even though it's way worse, to know that there's an environment on the internet that's just not the best. And I definitely fell a little bit too much into that environment over time, and it's kind of something that I have since distanced from. But aside from that and all the developments in that area, not a lot has changed with this channel. Like, really not a lot. I pretty quickly found my structure and the way I wanted to do things on this channel, and I have run with that ever since, only improving the quality of my stuff along the way, bettering my equipment, at which this point I pretty much have the best equipment I'm ever going to fork money over for a channel like this. I have an Elgato HD60, and I have a Blue Yeti. I almost said Blue Snowball. No, that's the other microphone that I actually had in the past. And yeah, that's kind of where we are now. I didn't really dwell a whole lot on all the stuff in the middle. I mean, there's been moments. I've definitely had my moments. There's been Let's Plays that have been better than others. There's some really, really good ones that I've done in the past, and some really, really crappy ones I've done in the past. And I've regretted the quality on some of those and have been taken some of them down and brought some back up. Like, I remember I initially took down my first 3 Let's Plays, which were, again, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Super Mario Sunshine, and Shadow of the Colossus. I took those Let's Plays down. I eventually re-uploaded them later, but I have since gone on to do better reduxes of those Let's Plays since then, or at least 2 of those. I gave my shot at Red Rescue Team. I'll probably give another shot at that later. Didn't really go so well when I tried it, but probably in the future I'll eventually get around to actually properly Let's Playing that game again. I digress. Guys, it's been a long, long 10 years, but it has been a fun 10 years. I mean, this is over a third of my life that I've been doing this, and it's a hobby. Again, it's a hobby. It's something that I have enjoyed doing, and if I don't enjoy doing it, I won't be doing it. But we're kind of in a lull at the moment, and we've been in several lulls in the past because of different reasons. Again, it's a hobby, therefore personal life takes precedent, and sometimes personal life doesn't allow me to Let's Play as often as I would like to, or even at all. And eventually things got to take a back seat, and I'm probably coming up on another one of those moments here in the future where I might not be able to Let's Play at all. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it's something that definitely might happen. Does that mean the channel is going to stop or die? No, of course not. There's always other ways that I can make content, and there's always, things can change in the future after the fact. But we're chugging along. We're doing it somehow. And I do have plans for the future, and I might as well share some of those now. But I guess the first thing that I might as well talk about is just the kind of the lack of ideas that I have had for Let's Plays in particular for the future from now. Because here's the problem. This channel has always been about Let's Playing my favorite games. It's never been about anything else. It's never been about Let's Playing what's popular or what's the cool thing. A couple of times I've done like brand new releases for Let's Plays, but those have almost never worked out all that well. And even if I have done those, they've usually been for games I already knew I was going to love in the first place. But yeah, since starting this channel, I have pretty much covered every game I could ever possibly want to cover on this channel. And I say pretty much because there definitely is a nice handful of games that I still want to talk about that I haven't done yet. But the difference is that a lot of these are games that I don't necessarily love anymore. I just happen to have like a lot of nostalgia for, or they're games that I've always been extremely curious about. Because here's the thing, and trust me, this is going to relate. It's going to sound like I'm jumping to another topic, but it relates, trust me. 7 years ago, I made a 2-part video series of my top 20 games of all time. And obviously, again, 7 years ago, this was like in, I want to say like August or September of 2014 that I made this video, or these videos, excuse me. Obviously, a lot has changed since then, and it is in desperate need of updating, and I would very much like to do that this year. I'm not going to say when. It's not like it's going to happen anytime soon, but at some point before the end of the year, I would like to give that series another crack. And I've compiled the list already, and I'm probably going to start working on the script this weekend after I record this video. Although this video itself is not going to go up until after E3, and I'm recording it before E3. I'm very well aware of that. I just kind of felt like this weekend in particular is a bad time to post this, so I'm giving it a few days. But anyways, during the weekend of E3, I'm going to put part of the script together, and I'm going to continue to work on it over the next couple of weeks, and eventually get it all recorded and put together. But upon compiling the list, I have looked through all of the games on here, and the number that I have not covered on this channel, that I have not done a Let's Play for, is really small. In fact, it's 3. Technically 4, but one of those games, there is no feasible way I can do a Let's Play of it. It's just not a Let's Playable game because that's just not the type of game it is. It's a fighting game, to put it simply. It's I can't really cover fighting games unless they have some sort of big story mode like Subspace Emissary in Smash Bros. Brawl. It's not really easy to record a Let's Play of like a Tekken or a Street Fighter or something along those lines. So other than that game, there's like 3 I haven't covered on this list. And that really kind of puts into perspective how much left there is to do on this channel. There are other games I would like to do. In fact, I have a very outdated list that is sitting on my About page on my channel that I'm probably going to update after I finish recording this video, if I'm being honest, because it looks like it's about 1.5 years, 2 years out of date. Yikes. But regardless, there are other games that I would like to cover at some point, but we're getting close to running out, and there are always new games, of course. One of those in mind is like Horizon Forbidden West whenever that comes out, but there's not a whole lot left to do, and I'm obviously not just doing Let's Plays anymore. I'm also trying to do like my quick review series, which that is another thing that I definitely will have more of. I know it seems like I kind of just stopped after episode 2. I have a lot more in mind, but I just have to get to actually writing the scripts and recording those. Which shouldn't take me too long to get another couple of those pumped out here pretty soon. And on top of that, I've also been thinking about starting a sort of podcast series. Now, this would be really nice because barring any changes in living situation, being able to record audio is something that I should never have an issue with. It's going to be more so recording stuff like gameplay that's going to be a lot more problematic in the future. So being able to start a podcast series would actually be a really great way for me to keep content somewhat active on this channel. But how I want to do that podcast series is still something that I'm trying to decide. But those are sort of the things I have planned for the future. Obviously, Ghost of Tsushima is going to last a lot longer. I mean, we're like, what, a third of the way through the game at the time of recording this video. There's so much left to do in that Let's Play. It's probably gonna last so long, it might even continue into next year. I mean, it's just crazy. I can't even quantify how long this Let's Play is going to take. And the fact that I still have other ones in mind. And again, I could also record ahead on certain Let's Plays and whatnot and get those going, you know, just in case there's other lulls in the future. There's so much left to discuss and talk about on this channel. But at the same time, I've already discussed most of what I wanted to talk about. And, I mean, I guess it's crazy to think about. It really is crazy to think about how far this has all come. 10 years is a long frickin' time. I mean, it really is. It's so much can happen over that period of time. I mean, I don't even want to like bring up world events that have happened in that time scale or that time frame, but it's been a lot. It really has. And it's crazy to think that I might be going for another little while. I don't know if I'm going to make a whole nother 10 years because I don't know if I have enough content to do that, but I mean, gosh, we'll see. We will certainly see, won't we? Thank you by the way. That's the other thing I want to say is to anybody who's still watching this, thank you. Every single person who has helped me along the way, who still watches my channel. I mean, there's so many people I could name that have helped me get this far and have, you know, been an influence on me. I mean, gosh, I wish I honestly had a list of all of them, but like even the ones that are on my channel right now, like Midnight and Beyond and Sephiroth1204 and the Origami Gamer and Objo Gaming and Nomad Colossus, Skill Up, Matthew Matosis, Chugga Conroy and Proton John and Nintendo Capri Sun, who I mentioned earlier. Stephen Plays, the Peanut Butter Gamer. I could go on and on and on with a list of names that have all had an impact on this channel in some shape or form. And to every single one of you, I just want to say thank you. And I genuinely mean it when I say that. Oh, man. I think I did pretty well for having this entire video be unscripted. But I guess all I have left to say is, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video very, very much, and I will see you all in the next one.